Hi everyone, in this particular video we will be looking into um, solving command injection to EC2 user data privilege escalation lab. This lab basically consists of Linux privilege escalation and cloud privilege escalation. So we will be starting with the user credentials of user Ryan, and then we will be using these credentials to uh, get access of a web server, and that web server will be running as some instance profile, and we will be stealing the credentials of that particular role which is configured in the instance profile, and then we will be uh, abusing the privileges of that role to get uh, root access within the web server. And yeah, so we will be getting flag with the root access of the web server. Okay, so let's see how to solve this. So after starting this lab, you will be provided with a VPN file and credentials. So let me download this VPN file, transfer this to your attacking machine. So connect to this VPN, open VPN. And you will see you will be uh, after getting connected, you will see a new interface with name turn0, and if you see IP route, you will see additional routes as well. Yeah, so all of these routes with the turn0 are newly created after connecting to the VPN. Okay, so far so good. Next thing is we need to configure these credentials. For configuring these credentials, we will be using AWS configure set AWS access key ID, and paste this access key ID here. Next we need to configure secret access key. Secret access key can also be configured like this, secret access key, and paste secret access key here. That is pretty much it. AWS STS get caller identity. So we are logged in with a user named Ryan. Now there are two approaches. Either you can directly try to enumerate permissions of user Ryan, and for that you can use commands like AWS IAM get user Ryan's attached policy. Command for that is this. So we have a policy named compute attached to user Ryan. Next step is to And by the way, this is a uh, managed policy, not inline policy, because this policy has its own ARN. Next step is to find the active version of this policy. For that, command is this: change the account ID from the above output, and we have v1 active for this particular policy. So policy can have multiple versions, so we need to fetch version 1 of the policy. Command for that is get policy version. And you can see we are having privileges to describe instances. EC2 describe instances, and we can describe all the instances in this particular AWS account. We have other permissions as well: get policy version, which we already used to read this policy, get policy, get user policy, list user policies. So all of these permissions allowed us to enumerate the policy attached to Ryan user. um, no okay. So let us try to see EC2 instances. EC2 describe instances, and we have a EC2 instance. You can see all the information regarding the EC2 instance here. Important things are this instance profile, then region is EU West 2, and IP address. Also we have instance ID, image ID. You can use this image ID to find out which operating system this instance is running. I mean, operating system is Linux, but which type of Linux you can get using image ID. Okay, very good. So we got all this information, and if we are already connected with the VPN. So if you see route, IP route, and our instance IP is 10.120.164, 10.120 and 164. It lies under this particular subnet, and because we are connected to VPN, we can access all the IPs within this subnet because of the VPN connected. So I mean, what I'm trying to say is we can access this EC2 instance. If I try to ping, maybe yes, so we can ping. Let us try to run a port scan on this instance. We have 2 open ports. If I do full port scan, so we might find some more ports, but for now we can see we have port 22, which is for SSH, and port 80, which is default for HTTP. So without further ado, we can go to web browser and try to access this web server. Copy the IP address and web server HTTP. So this EC2 instance is running a website named as Huge Logistics, and if you read the scenario, you can see after a successful smishing attack on your client. So our client is Huge Logistics, and we got credentials of a user account. Your task is to use these initial credentials and possibly expand your access within the cloud environment. So this is our imaginary client, and we have multiple pages here. You can try to click everywhere, find some functionality, maybe read more, tracking, and we can see a functionality for track a shipment. And if I try single quotes here, cannot find ship number, single quote, double quote, nothing. So we didn't got any response with double quote, so that is interesting. So if we try maybe backslash double quote, again nothing. Double quote ID, nothing. If we try backtick ID, oh, so we got this error, but we got command execution again. So basically this track a shipment thing is vulnerable to OS command execution. So we can run commands here. We can run who am I, www.data, which is default user for Apache or web servers. Next thing you can try to do is you can try for reverse shell. I tried for that, but it didn't work. So what I did is I created a bind shell. So for getting a payload for bind shell, you can go to rivshells.com. For bind shell, you don't need to know IP address to which this bind shell will connect, because it will connect to itself. I mean, it will start listening on the web server itself. So you don't need IP address in this case. And you can try either Python 3 bind shell or PHP bind shell. Python 3 bind shell didn't work for me, so I will be using this PHP bind shell. And how can I know that PHP is installed on the server? Because this application is using PHP. You can see with the extension .php. Also, if you want to make sure, like, yes, PHP is there, you can use which space PHP, which command will tell you the location of the PHP binary. So it is installed there. User bin PHP. Okay, so very good. So we need to copy this thing, whole payload, double backticks, paste the payload here, and click track shipment. It will keep loading. And next step is to connect to this. We will be using netcat space IP address of the web server, and port number on which this reverse shell, bind shell is listening is 8003, and we give that here 8003. So we got a bind shell. Now you can do multiple things. pwd, we are currently inside this directory var www html tracking. You can find other users potentially. So we have two users, Ryan and Ubuntu. We can run uname -a to find kernel version. Kernel version is 5.19. Operating system is Ubuntu. We can find out IP address information. So this is IP address. In our previous output of this, we came to know like there is an instance profile attached to this EC2 instance. So we can try to get stale credentials of this EC2 instance profile. So for that, we need to use metadata API, or sometimes we might find credentials, temporary credentials in environment variable as well, but those are not present in this particular scenario. In case of Lambda function, you will be finding the credentials in an environment variable. So yeah, we will be using metadata API, and the address for that is 169.169.254, and we have multiple folders. We are interested in this latest folder because we will be finding credential there, latest, and we are interested in metadata. So we are just going directory inside directory inside directory slash metadata and IAM slash IAM, and next is we need to seek security credentials. So when we are using curl command, so there is no new line in the output in the last, so that is the reason we see like our output like this. So like don't be confused with this. Okay, there is no new line when we are getting the output from curl. Next is we need to use security credential path here, and we got the compute admin instance profile which is attached slash compute admin, and we are able to steal credentials. Happy hackers. uh, Let us configure these credentials. Configure set AWS access key ID. Copy and paste. Next is secret access key. Copy and paste. Last is token. AWS configure set AWS session token we already know this EC2 instance is running in EU West 2, sorry, US West 2, so we can configure region as well with the credentials, along with credentials. AWS configure set region. Yeah. Okay. Now we can test our credentials. Get caller entity security token included in the request is invalid. Okay. Something is missing. Let me open my credentials file. Oh. While configuring session token, I configured it with default profile. I forgot to mention -- profile assumed. So that is the error. Paste and -- profile assumed. Okay. And remove this from credentials. Now it should work. Okay, we are able to log in as compute admin role. Next thing is we need to again start our enumeration. So we will be finding policies attached to this role. Command for that is this list attached policies. And we have a policy named compute admin attached to this compute admin role. Again, we need to read the policy. Count number is this. And we have version 1. Paste. ARN is this. Minus profile assumed. So you can see this policy has permissions to describe instances, start instances. So we can start a instance, we can modify instance attribute, we can stop instances, we can get role, get policy version. Yeah, so all of these we used right now to read this policy. Yes, so it doesn't have anything else. So interesting permission which we can abuse is this one, combined with this and this. So if you see these three permissions for a EC2 instance, so you can get root within that EC2 instance. So basically you can escalate privileges of that Linux machine if you have these three permissions. How to do that? So if you do a quick search about this, EC2 modify instance attribute, you can see the first blog through user data, EC2 privilege escalation through user data, and we will be using the same method. So you basically, if a adversary has permissions to modify instance attribute permission, they can leverage it to escalate to root. So basic thing is, when the EC2 instance starts on the boot itself, you can configure a script or bash command which will be running as root, and so whatever you give any command here, that will be executed as root user. So without further ado, let's do that. So first step is we need to stop the instance, because we cannot change or modify anything related to EC2 instance if it is in running state. So stop the instance. For stopping instance, the things we need is instance ID, and we already got that in our previous output. Instance ID is this. So command is AWS EC2 stop instances. Instance ID is this. Region you don't need to provide because it is already configured with the profile. If it is not configured, you can specify the region as well. So if you saw, when I stopped the instance, our reverse shell went off, so as expected. Next thing is we need to modify the data attribute of the instance. For that, I have used this particular, sorry, not this particular payload. So what is happening here is we are copying the sh binary to our www data users home directory. So this is the home directory for www data user, and when I got the shell, I was here inside this directory, and what we are doing is we are creating the copy of sh with the name suid. Next thing is we are giving suid, enabling suid bit in this particular sh binary to, so that is required for privilege escalation. So our effective, so when we will be running any command with this particular suid bit enabled, so we will be running, we will be having our effective permissions as root user. If it is not making sense, it will. Just give me a moment. Next command is I am trying to create a bind shell, again using PHP. And next command is I'm trying to run a bind shell again, but this time using Python 3. And if you are not sure like where is your suid present, so it can be either in /bin or it can be in /user bin, so you can try both. And just to give a separate name, so if your sh exists in /bin, so it will work. If your sh binary exists in /user bin, then also it will work. Yeah, so save this. Let me copy this to my current working directory. Current working directory is this. Next step is to base64 encode this whole file. Base64 encode file name, and then pass the output to a new file name, and this file contains base64 encoded text. Next step is to modify the instance attribute. For that, command is AWS EC2 modify instance attribute. Attribute is user data. Instance ID is this. and you need to give file path. So currently this file exists in my current directory, so that is why I'm not specifying the whole path. Otherwise you can specify whole path as well. So you don't get any output of this, but it worked because we didn't got any error. So if you don't get any error after running a AWS CLI command, that means it ran successfully. Now next step is to start the instance. AWS EC2 start instances. Instance ID is this, copy paste, and wait for our instance to get started. If everything worked as expected, then so what I did is I have 3 different ways to gain privilege escalation. First one is SUID using this thing. Next one is using bind shell PHP using PHP. Another thing is using bind shell using Python 3. So one of them should work. So let me try this one first. 8004. So if we are able to connect to this bind shell, so then we will be able to run commands as root, because this bind shell will be running as root. So let me do that. Eight zero zero four. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So we got our bind shell running as root. We directly connected to that bind shell using netcat. Let me try to connect to bind shell using sorry, Python bind shell. So this one is PHP bind shell. Python bind shell is running on 8005, and doesn't seem to work. Oh yeah, it is working. So everything is working. Let me check my SUID thing as well. For that we can just run ls-la here. So we have yeah, both files, SUID1 and SUID, both files are there. I don't know how. Yeah, only one file should be here, should be present, but maybe there is a symlink for /bin which converted uh, /bin to /userbin, or maybe /userbin to /bin. I don't know. Who knows? But if it is working, it is well and good. I can try maybe /bin/sh. We will come to know if there is a symlink. /bin/sh resolves to dash, and if I run which dash /user/bin dash, and if I run ls-la to slash user slash bin slash sh. Okay, so this also is also dash, and dash is also slash user slash bin dash. So it makes sense very well. Now I can sleep without any confusion. Um, yeah, so that is pretty much it. If you want to read the flag is present in the root directory, and we are currently in root directory ls-la. And where is flag? Not here. So it is in slash root users home directory here. Cat slash root slash flag.txt. So you can submit that to solve this challenge. That is pretty much it. We started from a leaked credential of user Ryan, then we so that particular user was having permissions to describe instances. We uh, got the IP address of the instance. That instance was running a web server. From the web server we got command execution. Then using that command execution we stole the credentials of EC2 uh, instance profile, sorry, the role with which was configured in the instance profile, and then we used that role to modify the user attribute, user data of that EC2 instance, which allowed us to escalate privileges within the EC2 instance to from regular user to a root user. Um, yeah, so that was pretty much it. I hope it was helpful for you guys to understand something new. Thank you for watching.